What's up, folks? This is Steel. Welcome back to Steelcast 27. Once again, today I have the Pensacola Tier 7 American Cruiser, otherwise known as the Pepsi Cola or the Sitsa-Cola. I researched this ship a couple of months ago when American Cruisers were on sale, but I had never played it. I was actually scared to, if you want to know the truth. I faced a ton of them when I was playing my battleships, and I didn't like the way they would pop. So I kind of put it in the back of my priority list as far as ships that I wanted to grind out. So I decided this weekend to give it a shot because of that Road to the Des Moines event. So I threw it in the training room first and against battleships and other cruisers of its tier. And this was my setup for that. I'm using the main battery modification 1 that's negative 20% to detonations. You don't need any more detonations in this on top of the already paper thin armor. Um, Once again, a lot of people like the AA roll, and this does have an AA option, which is the survivability, but the main battery 1 is what I go for. For the second module slot, I use the gunfire control mod. Now, in this slot, there's 3 viable options. If you choose the AA roll, you can choose the AA. The traverse is okay. I mean, it's really good actually with the amount of turning that you have to do with this, but the guns will track. But I choose the DPS. I choose the gunfire mod because of the accuracy buff, and I don't want to lose that 10%, reload time. The third slot, I go with the damage control system. That helps you all the time. I don't think you're going to be hurt by that. And then finally, I wanted to maximize the maneuverability on this. A lot of people do. This seems to be the most popular option, the steering gear. Negative 20% to the rudder shift time, which reduces it to I think about 5.6 ish. You'll see it in a minute, and that's really good because basically you're using your maneuverability to survive. It doesn't have any armor on it that you can rely upon. So moving into the artillery, it shoots 4 rounds per minute, have turrets that can track with the gunfire mod 1, and that's why I didn't pick the traverse one. The dispersion it's a pretty good dispersion, 131 meters. The HE is a little bit soft, but with Demolition Expert, you can get that up to 17, get the fire chance up to 17%, which is really actually pretty good. And the AP is kind of strong on this, and you shoot AP quite a bit because the rifles in these things are 55 caliber, which are actually pretty long. So it's got some decent pen on it. Now moving on to the AA, it's got a rating of 46, which comparatively to the Cleveland, I think with mine I had a 56. So it's a little bit less than the Cleveland, but it does have 127 millimeter AA guns. So manual control could be an option here, manual control AA, or AFT could be an option if you want to do the AA roll. I choose the demo expert because I just love the guns. I just love shooting and setting things on fire. And even though you got those 127s and manual control could work, I'd still go with AFT if I was going to do the AA roll because you're just going to be so busy tracking, maneuvering, and all that stuff. You don't want to get bogged down in your game. Next, we're looking at maneuverability. It's kind of slow for a cruiser, I think, comparatively, but it's not going to hurt you, 32.5 knots. But look at the turn radius, 620 meters. That is fantastic. The rudder shift time is 5.6. Finally, the concealment is terrible on this. You have no leeway when to decide to shoot or not when you spot enemies. They will be spotting you before you spot them. But that's enough about that. Let's take this into the training room to test it against some cruisers, battleships. Let's get it on. So if you haven't seen any of my ship reviews before, this is how I test the maneuverability under fire or while firing. I call it the effective rounds per second test, where I line up a ship, do a full 360-degree turn while I'm firing to see how many rounds I can get off before the round is complete. So that's 10. That's a full broadside with the Pensacola, but watch how quick this thing turns. It's an amazing ship. Now, the front and the back of the ship both have 5 guns on them on 2 turrets. So keep that in mind. That means no matter what you're doing, running away or going towards the target, you're going to be shooting 5 guns. That's 20. So that's 2 broadsides before your front guns have to start spinning around. That's 25. And those front guns are coming around. This is where that turret traverse might help. Might. 30. Yeah, once again, I'm not going to lose that 10% to the reload. Really, I'm not. It's 35. I don't think I'm going to get another salvo off before I'm finished that turn. That's how fast this thing turns. Wow. What a graceful gazelle. All right, so for the results, that was a 58-second turn, 35 rounds out. That gives you an effective round per second of 0.6, which I think is kind of average. It's not going to blow you away, but it's an 8-inch gun ship, so the reload really hampers that. But point out one more thing: 24 hits, and I got 15,000 damage. A little bit over 15,000 damage done on that Nagato with AP. That's actually pretty good. But let's take this thing into close quarters to see what these 55 caliber rifles can do to the battleships in their faces. Domo arigato, Mr. Nagato. All right, let's see if these things can pen the nose on a Nagato. What do you think? I think maybe. Oh man, that's not much. But that's a tough shot, tough angle. These things have armor. Or they have thick skins. Enough to stop these rifles at least. But moving in, shooting the nose. There we go. Now those are the normal pens. 1500 damage is a .33 pen for these guns. So keep an eye out on that, because we'll be hitting the hit point threshold for these ship sectors. So when it drops to 700, you know still it's a pen. It's not an overpen. But right now I'm trying to search the belt, trying to search the magazines, but it doesn't seem like I am getting stopped by the armor. It's .33s up and down. And you can tell by that noise too. That little screechy thing I think is a pen. Also keep track of how many times I'm hitting them on each salvo, because a lot of these shots I'll be hitting the water and they won't be actually hitting the ship. But it looks like the magazines are either concealed or too well armored to reliably get any citadels. Maybe it's angled too much, but I'm still getting those .33s. There, see, that's what I mean. I completely hit the water. Still getting those pens though. Now I'm moving completely broadside to get that shot on the magazine so it has the least amount of armor to go through. But it seems like I'm not going to be able to get them. I could have sworn I would have been able to with the pen on these guns. That's disappointing. But that's life. Moving on to the true citadel, the boiler room. Let's see what happens here. Whoa, there we go. Now that's what I'm talking about. Citadels on battleships at close range. Make them pee their pants. And get them raging at you in chat. Calling out hacks and stuff. That's what you want as a player. Let's see if I can get one more citadel. Come on. I'm going to do a full broadside here, just so I can make sure. But we'll see. It might pan and blow up before I get a citadel. Fire! Ah, no citadel. But I did a decent amount of damage. You could tell it couldn't be stopped at all by these. The 55 caliber guns are amazing. Let's move on to Colorado. Now, I just got done with an armor test for the Colorado on a ship review. I did that on Wednesday. It was out Thursday. So I think that this Pensacola can pen this Colorado up and down, just like the Nagato. But I'm not really confident on the citadels, because I think the Colorado has enough armor on the citadel areas to stop shots. I I conducted a similar test for that review as well, so this might be a little bit redundant for the subscribers, so you can skip ahead maybe maybe about 30 or 40 seconds, maybe more than that. Maybe about a minute or two. I want you to stick around and listen and watch. All right, so the belt's strong, but it's not stopping regular pens. Yep, see? It doesn't stop it, even at a slight angle. And I'm not sure if that's just the armor characteristics of the Colorado are lacking, or if that's the strength of the Pensacola's 55 calibers. I think it's a little bit of both. Well, that was a complete bounce. That must have hit the belt and the magazine armor. Got nothing. Goose egg. Okay, back to penning. So I'm not really sure how to, advise you to play either the Colorado or what to shoot at the as the Pensacola. Now, if I was the Pensacola, I'd be shooting casemate here. Obviously, I'm shooting casemate. I'm just trying to see if I can get through this belt, so maybe you can get those humdinger shots. But yeah, the casemate's going to be an easy pen for this, and I would shoot that even if the Colorado was angled. Take my chances. Have a better chance against the casemate than against that belt. Yeah, no boiler rooms, no nothing. I don't think I'm going to get any citadels here, so might as well just skip ahead and do some fun stuff against some cruisers. Now this is what we play for, gentlemen. Sit City. This is why we're here. All right, so I'm lining up the Miyoko, the Japanese Tier 7 cruiser. Now, I don't think I can sit him from the front. I think the Miyoko's got pretty strong front armor there. I got one pen, and I think that one shell probably went right through that flat spot of the. Yep, you can see it right there. All right, so angled, I think I'm not going to have much luck, but the Pensacola does surprise with these 55 calibers, and there you go. Nice surprise there. You can pen the front. Obviously, at this angle, you can't get through the Citadel armor. I don't know how thick it is on the Miyoko, but I think it's probably thick enough at this deflection angle. But at some point, there you go. Oh, underneath the magazine there. That's amazing, yes. So you can sit the Miyoko up and down the entire... Oh, wow. Now, yeah, that's not enough angle. That is not enough to stop the Pensacola. Wow. Cool. Next victim is the Shores or the Scores. I don't know how to pronounce it. Someone let me know how to pronounce that ship. It's the Russian Tier 7. It's not too bad, but of course I shot it right through that nose again. Probably got 2 pens there and a turret incapacitation. Wow. All right, let's see. Angled, I think it's going to bounce. But you never know. There you go. Oh, no, that was... Now that's some pens. And a sit. Are you kidding me? The sit box is that high? I'm gonna try to duplicate that. Oh, yeah, the sit box is really high on the Shores up the front in the magazine. And it's got no armor on the sides. The Shores it's a lightweight, people. Take advantage of that. Now, here I have a little bit of fun. Usually I test ships at close ranges, but this is medium range, and oh my god, I'm picking on a Pensacola. And Pensacola's, they're really just, they're sit pinatas. There's no 2 words about it. Oh my god, 2 salvos. And that was a little bit of angle too. That didn't stop nothing. Well, I think it's only got like 50 millimeters of armor. I did that for fun, really, and I didn't expect those results. So I'm flying high right now. And then here is the true test on a Pensacola. Pensacola versus Pensacola. I think the guns are too much. The 55 calibers are too much. The thing is, I want to see if I can Citadel, and oh my god, you can. The Pensacola is super susceptible to Citadel shots. And if you played it, you know that already, but that's why I'm showing you. It can't bounce anything. These are all pens. That's angled shots, and they're all pens. Oh, those are a couple bounces. Wow. Okay, so I must be hitting an angled side armor and then hitting the magazine and bouncing. Okay, I'm back to penning. Oh, back to sitting. Now that's a good angle too. Oh my god. Killer. Yep, that's the Pensacola, people. That's what you're going to be playing. And now, can you understand why I told you to get that rudder shift? I guess it doesn't even matter. You're just trying to get them to miss. All right, let's move on to the York, the last cruiser in the test. All right, so finally, the German York. It's supposed to have better armor than everything in this tier. So I'm going to test that out. I just sank one kind of broadside in 3 salvos. Which is better than the Pensacola's too, I guess. But, yep, still got some pens in the front, just like everything else. I think it depends on where the shell lands, but it's not a reliable shot, so I wouldn't take that on a regular basis. Maybe if you're far enough away, you'll get some plunge. Okay. All right, that's a pen. Those are pens. Okay, the York does not have an angle to it. Now that'll bounce, I think. Yeah, I'm shooting the rear guns too. That doesn't help. All right, there's a regular pen from the front. Some more regular pens. Now I'm trying to get that Citadel box. Wait, what? The magazine's high? The magazine is high on tier 7 ships. It's really high. So that means it can be sit up and down if you get a plunge at medium range, but it looks like the sit box for the true Citadel, the boiler room, is a little bit low. Okay, so that's why the York is stronger, or at least people think it's stronger, because instead of getting the Citadels, you're getting .33s. You really have to get waterline to get that sit. All right, so next we're going to move it into a real-life battle to see how it does. I'll see you there.
Action stations.
Welcome to a Tier 8 match on Dos Hermanos. And as you can see, there is an Amagi on the other team. And Amagis feast on Pensacola's. They really do. Because I do. So, this is one of those matches where I was just getting my feet wet with this Pensacola. And then I had a real bad streak where I was just getting Citadel and punched in the face nonstop, and I was going to quit, and I was like, okay, one more match. I'm going to try one more match, see how I can do. And it turned out to be my best match of the day. So never stop playing this game, people. That's the lesson you learn. Never log off. Just keep playing. Now, Two Brothers is one of those maps where it doesn't pay off to be too aggressive in the beginning. It doesn't pay off to be too passive in the beginning. So you're trying to find that balance, and a lot of it's dictated on what the enemy team does. So if you're too aggressive and the enemy team's aggressive and you're by yourself, you could end up being smashed. So at this point, I'm trying to gauge which way my capital ships are going, because I do want to give them some support and stay at long range, so there's no real sense of me charging up and trying to spot destroyers like I would in other cruisers at lower tiers. I think tier 7 is about that tier range where you want to start playing with your head instead of playing with sits on your brain, if that makes any sense. It made total sense to me. So I'm going to skip ahead real quick to get to some action, and then we'll see how it goes from there. So yeah, you missed about 10 seconds, and that took forever, so I decided to cut it out. I've got a torp bomber inbound. I'm detected by that plane. And then look, there's a Pensacola on the horizon. So I'm concentrating on 2 different things here. And they're dropping in and out of spot. Now there's smoke. That means the destroyer's being really aggressive. But that torp bomber's heading straight for me. I don't want to turn in to avoid the torps because I want to get a shot off. So I turn out. Pop that AA. Oh, is he going to torp me? No. Ah, well, he would have missed anyway, I think. Well, maybe not because I was beached, but look at that. That was a snapshot against a Pensacola and 2 Citadels. That was a nice salvo. Here comes some more planes. Yeah, usually fights aren't this intense at this corner. Planes usually aren't this aggressive either, flying over cruisers. Not going to make any judgment calls on the carrier driver or anything, but thank you for the stats. All right, so now I have to get back into position. So I'm not going to be turning in because I don't want to be turning into a Nagato or perhaps even an Amagi. I'm going to try to find our capital ships so that I can get back into normal position. The Pensacola is not the kind of ship that you want to be stuck out by yourself. Now at this point I'm trying to get that 7% of fire chance to work. And really it's just a matter of how many shells you can land. There's several, I didn't get that fire. That's unlucky. That island, stupid island, was there. I don't realize this, but this New Mexico, this is what I'm talking about. The battleship drivers, they love shooting Pensacola's. Now he's got plenty of targets, but he's going to decide to take a pot shot at me. Of course, I was giving him broadside. I just didn't expect him to be targeting me, and I just got lucky. I got lucky in two ways. I got a fire and I missed his shot. But the Pensacola, on top of having really good turn radius and rudder shift time, it really has good acceleration and deceleration too. So that's another thing that you can put into your repertoire as far as avoiding shots. But just make sure that if you're going to be dropping throttle, doing it in a one-on-one situation is probably a lot better than doing it when you're caught by 3 or 4 or more enemies shooting at you, because you just don't want to be stuck with that much firepower going out. You can fool one guy, but chances are there's going to be somebody that's not going to be fooled. Long range on Hots. That's a nice salvo. Hatsuharus must have a decent amount of hit points, because I thought I would have been able to shave a little bit more off of him there. Ugh, now he's dropping in and out of spots. That's annoying. Doesn't look like he has any smoke around him. And then I see some more planes. I'm going to head on over to the capital ships to try to provide some AA support. But my team really did charge over to the 1-2 line really hard. While I was trying to avoid those torp bombers and shoot the Pensacola, these guys were just heading off. Now this is the AA on the Pensacola with my build that's a little bit light. This is a lower tier plane. I launched my fighter late, but I did get one shoot down, so that's what you can expect. Like I said, 46 is a little bit less than a Cleveland, but that'll be enough to get at least 1 or 2 planes when they fly over your closer AA. But the Cleveland probably would have shot down every fighter group as soon as they took off. Now that's a good shot. And I think I suffered from a lag spike there right at the wrong time, because I think I registered a bunch of hits and I didn't get any payment in the form of damage. And there you can see the Pensacola's nimbleness. Like, those shots were dead on, and he avoided an entire 131 meter dispersion radius. Of course he beached, but
Torpedoes, dead ahead.
and you can't drop spots in the Pensacola, so he's going to be stuck, spotted, and everyone's going to be shooting at you. You got to watch that. That's one thing that's going to really change how you play. As far as like playing other cruisers back and forth or whatever, that's one thing that you're going to realize. Like, okay, if I'm engaged, I'm going to be spotted. Even if I'm not engaged, I'm going to be spotted. So how do I want to play this? How do I want to approach How do I want to approach the approach to a sector? That's I mean that's really what it comes down to. People are going to see you coming in. It's not like you're going to be like, okay, how am I going to attack these guys? No, they know you're there, so you might as well just attack as soon as you get there. Here comes the Cleveland broadside. Oh no, those were good, but he turned out. That peaky blinder, that peaky freaking blindy. He turned out. Now he's turning back in. Now he's turning out again. This guy's got the swim move. He's got it down. I don't see very many rounds going out on his part though, so he's kind of just baiting everybody, it seems. Now at this point with the Pensacola on this part of the map, I think this is a good part of the map because you can recognize where their battleships are and simply keep those islands in between you and their battleships and still shoot at cruisers who are going to be your bread and butter. The Pensacola is an amazing. Now here we go. There, I got that ability back. He's flying right over me, which is not where you want to go. Yikes. That group didn't last very long, did it? So the reliability of him, me catching him in a broadside, is low. So I'm going to try to put a dot on him. A dot of fire damage instead. So all it takes is one round of HE to potentially get 10,000 damage because of the fire mechanic. You might like that, you might not. That's the way it is. One badly aimed shell that hits your target and you get a lucky roll, you can get 10,000 damage or more. Great. There's that tour bomber again. Now, I kind of wish that my team recognized the situation. So this is why team games like World of Warships are interesting. I'm still getting those shoot downs. Look. Games like World of Warships are interesting because they're team games, but like once you finish the first engagement, okay, we won the first engagement, and now it's a matter of capitalizing on it. And good players will recognize when to push. You know, as soon as you can push and harass the enemy as they're retreating or getting into position to get better shots. Bad players or bad teams, they won't recognize that. They'll keep their positioning the same as if it was the initial engagement, and they won't move up to support you. And that's another area where the Pensacola suffers because it's not necessarily an aggressor ship. Now I'm using it in the aggressive role here simply because the game is, I think, seems like out of hand. I mean, when you win a side of the map, you think, okay, well, this is going to be a rickroll. I better get as much damage as I can. And you want to give the enemy's team something to be concerned about. And there's that Hatsuharu again getting spotted. Huh. But you can see, again, the Pensacola, the guns. They're really, really user-friendly. And Hatsuharu is not the most maneuverable duck in the bathtub. Boom. Alright, so there's that Cleveland trying to get away smartly. Now, one trick that I do like to pull when I know I have a fighter group lingering. I'd like to drop my fighter and get my fighter engaged, and then use my defensive fire ability and knock down a fighter wing. But this is not a good situation. Amagi, that is the bane of the Pensacola, simply because of the amount of rounds that the Amagi can put out. And then engaging two targets at the same time is not smart. So this is where that quick reversal that you can pull with that rudder shift. And I don't want them to be able to lob any shots over me, over this island, so I'm going to hug it. But the Pensacola's guns are just, that's just great. Look at that. Miyoko with the funky. Now the Miyoko's got the funky gun pattern where it can't shoot all its guns at the same time, forward or backward, where the Pensacola's got that staggered turret where you can shoot both turrets. I think the Mogami has that problem too. It's got 3 turrets up front, and then one of them can't shoot forward. That's just a strange design. I don't know why they designed them that way. But I guess in fleet actions you're moving broadside, as opposed to this game where. And there we go. That's a nice fire on a Nagato. He's probably on cooldown too, so I'm gonna get some ticks on him. And that's basically what I'm trying to do. At this point, when I know there's a Nagato and an Amagi, and see that Amagi, or maybe that was from the Nagato, they love shooting at Pensacola's, man. I would, because all it takes is one hit and you get 10,000. And you don't really even need to make a mistake in the Pensacola. The positioning is the mistake. Letting people anticipate your move is the mistake, and that highly depends on the skill level of your opponent. You know, if they are able to anticipate your moves faster, then it gives them an advantage. But yeah, here I'm trying to get more fires down. Ooh, nice. And I'm trying to stay in these islands because now this is a position. If I was going to criticize my game, I would have dropped throttle here. I should have dropped throttle and then spotted these guys over the mountains, but I continued to sail at full speed. But I had this Nagato. I wanted to finish this Nagato here, and at the same time, I wanted to stay as maneuverable. But that island is getting me. That's another nice fire. That's a full fire right there. So here's a weird thing. I avoided the island, but somehow the back of my ship got stuck, and honest to God, this is death. This should have been death. For a Pensacola driver, this terrain did not do me any favors. And but the good thing is I kind of like break myself loose, and then I get stuck again, and then I break myself loose, and it kind of throws off this Amagi's aim. And I think that saved me. So this island is actually a smart move. Guys, running into islands can be smart. Sometimes. I don't know, it's not smart, it's just lucky. As far as what this Amagi's doing, I don't know. He's low hit points, but I'm not a huge fan of the backwards driving element. I know he probably wants to keep an angle to that battleship, finish the cruisers off, and then engage. I think it's the Colorado. But now any one of these shots is gonna just, yup, there we go. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of RNG. Oh my god. And cruisers, it doesn't matter with the angle with battleships. It's just a matter of how big your sit box is. That's it. And the Pensacola's got a pretty big sit box. And any of these shots could finish me off, really. I'm like extremely lucky, but I did do a nice thing here. I pretended like I was going to make a full turn left to give him a broadside, and instead I turned right. So the game isn't necessarily, it's not necessarily seeing how great you can maneuver in a ship. It's how you can use the maneuverability of a ship to confuse your enemies, and that's it. That's the name of the game. A lot of video games are like that. But yeah, I'm getting some really good fires in this Amagi. It's just wonderful getting all these fires right when I need them. Now at this point, if he was lit up on fire, the testing proved that you could shoot AP, because you can pen battleships with these 55 caliber guns. But my standard tactic is to light them on fire first and then go for the AP, because HE does a decent amount of damage on its own, and you just can't give up on the potential of 10 to 15,000 damage. I mean, Yeah, if you read on the forums, people say shoot the AP all the time. Yeah, but you know that fire and then AP, and then you're really doing the damage. Okay, so this game's over. It's a really good match from the team point. I think everybody was just aggressive enough, and they didn't get smoked. And then we get some cheap end damage. So my final thoughts on the Pensacola are: I give it a what am I gonna give it? I'm gonna give it a B. It's not the greatest ship in the world when facing higher tier ships, which is one of my criteria for giving it an A. And it's not that great, especially against cruisers, which this is designed to kill. I give it a B. I would give it a B minus because of the susceptibility to be in citadels. Every cruiser can be citadel, but I think Pensacola in particular can. But I raise it to a B because the guns I think they're very, very good, and I think the gun positioning on the ship is important too. You can shoot at any angle, at least 5 rounds. Now compare and contrast that with the Miyoko, you're kind of stuck with the broadside position most of the time. But yeah, so a B, Pensacola. Just keep that rudder shift in mind. Use that throttle to your advantage. But most importantly, do not bite off more than you can chew. Have a game plan when you want to approach an engagement and let those guns rip.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Feel free to like or comment, and if you're interested in seeing more content in the future, subscribe. My live stream is currently on Twitch at the URL you can see right there. And if you're interested in even more World of Warships videos, I highly recommend The Taste. The link is down below. Thanks again.